Especially if politician's son come along, then so you can do what you like. Did I go through harassment, or did I go through unpleasant circumstances with opposite sex, or situations where were absolutely unpleasant? Yes. If I tell you the name, you will be shocked. But I know.
Go for it.
Maybe the name that you would ask for now. What do you think? This Karan Johar and gang, this is the kind of attitude they thrive on. And a lot of negative PR about me has been happening from these people. And what is this thing of calling them young? Ranbir Kapoor was 37, he is the young kid of the generation. And Alia was just turned, she's running 27. My mother had 3 children at 27. This is absolutely unfair. बच्चे हैं कि dumb हैं कि क्या हैं? If we are asking about your sex life, that you're okay to discuss. Put pictures on Instagram, who I'm fucking, who I'm not fucking, that is fine. But about the country, it's my personal choice.
You picked on Ranbir Kapoor for the fact that he does not comment on stuff which is political. I mean, he feels he's privileged, that he has no business, telling people what they should do in life. He didn't rub you the wrong way.
Of course he did.
How?
Of course. He said, I live in luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I live
He
in
was
luxury.
talking about himself.
No, but I have nothing to do with the rest of the India. But see, this is the thing about people who feel absolutely exclusive. People who feel that they have no sense of inclusion. This is the kind of attitude. What do you think? This Karan Johar and gang, this is the kind of attitude they thrive on. No, seriously. And a lot of negative PR about me has been happening from these people. And I know them. Maybe you don't know, but I know who give these news out about my negative PR. So I know that's why whenever I do something, it is to put them in their place, because this kind of attitude that, see, I am me and you are you, is where this whole nepotism or outsider and this thing is coming from. Because they live in this absolutely, like feeling superior to others. And we need to question that. And the fact that I also know who had released the horse video. If I tell you the name, you will be shocked. But I know.
Go for it.
I'll tell you after this. Maybe the name that you would ask for now.
Okay, so
see, there are a lot of politics in the industry. People who are very uncomfortable with me coming up, and also whether it's Tanu Manu or whether it is Manikarnika. It's not only actresses' spot that I am questioning or I am trying to get to. These are the figures which no female-centric films have seen before. Like Tanu Manu is in a zone which is ahead of many male heroes' highest grossers, And Manikarnika, people are saying, I'm not saying it, people are saying that no hero has ever done action like this. So it is frightening many people. It is making them feel कि हमारी भी period film आएगी, then will we be compared? So what do you think? It is as simple as that? If in your business it is not as simple as that in journalism, then in my business how can it be as simple as what it looks like?
But could you also be suffering from some element of a persecution complex where you feel like everyone's out there to get you? Could that be a thought in your head a lot of the times? Is that possible as an idea, as a thought?
Well, I think if anybody who suffers from that complex is somebody who will definitely live in a lot of pain and suffering. But when you are these are the kind of people who maybe fall for, I think, I don't know, but they definitely are somebody who will deal with a lot of complexities. Like you said, everyone's out to get me. Yeah. But when you are out to get everyone,
you are out to get everyone.
Obviously, you can't be suffering from that complex.
Sure.
Because your complex is that I am out to get everyone who's trying to mess with me. So it's opposite of that.
Sure. There was a larger point that you were trying to make with that Ranbir Kapoor.
I also spoke about other stars.
Sure. It's not about Ranbir Kapoor. I think it's the larger idea about where someone, when they don't feel qualified to comment on something, where they feel that they may not want to go public with it. They may have their viewpoints. Every human being has a viewpoint. They may not want to go public with it. Isn't it okay? Like, why does that person have to be at gunpoint to say something about everything that's happening in the world? Do we not owe it to the society that we pay taxes and we do our work really well? Is that not good enough?
No, what happens, that, see, society, how does society function? Now let's talk about it. This cannot be spoken superficially,
no,
right?
No, not at all.
See,
not at all.
Can you and I applaud for ourselves? No. You are somebody who does a job of writing. You know, I'm somebody who acts, but there is somebody who's actively farming for us, and that is what we are eating. And we are, you know, somebody is actively making bread. You're hiring these people to work for you, but you can't possibly educate them from day one. But these people in the social structure who are sitting there and doing things in a sort of give and take. Well, let's not talk about money. Yeah, of course, a teacher gets paid, but so we are. But we are what a farmer does for us, we cannot ever pay them in, you know, sort of money. And it's not that ke chalo theek hai farming hi to karni, hum to, we could not never possibly do what they do for us. So what happens is, when you talk about a celebrity, what is a celebrity? A celebrity, I don't know the dictionary origin and all of that, is somebody who is a celebrated being, you know, somebody who reflects what the masses, and maybe they don't even know what is good for them. The responsibility lies on them to reflect the psyche of the masses. What do masses want, hence going forward, and they should be addressing the concern. If we are talking about a collective development of a community, of a nation, if we are just talking about capitalism, it's a different thing. Of course, it's a different thing, that you do your thing and I'm doing my thing. We will be good to talk like that maybe 50 years down the line, when we are not the highest number of malnutrition in the world. But right now, where we are, if somebody talks like that, you know, they should be condemned. So what I feel, it might be too ideal a world.
Sure.
It is too ideal a
That's
world.
what you feel,
But you cannot completely say that I don't have a point. I have a point. And do I only talk the talk and not walk the walk? Then you'd ask me. No, I talk the talk and I walk the walk also. So when you're talking about a celebrity is somebody who cannot go out there. I am very busy with my life these days, you know, like, so I can't talk about the country. And so what is country's life? If a bomb drops on your house, so that is a bomb on the country and on you, you idiot. It is on everyone. So the thing is that this sort of disassociation, okay, I live a very luxurious life and I can't talk about the country, but India is my life. Invariably, whether I like it or not, it is my life. If I like it, good for me. If I don't like it, anyway, it is my life. Now, what is happening with Indian borders is, I have a house in Manali. I don't want to be Chinese. I should be concerned, isn't it? I'm so close to China. For
not
all
really.
you know,
I mean, Manali is not that close to China. Not really. Or
it is.
You're not going to be invaded by Chinese.
So that's what I'm saying, that everything that happens in the country, I should be concerned with it. And if I'm not, then I am a fool. Then we as a society, we need to decide that these idiots should be our role models or not. What we get what we deserve. So we need to talk about it. See, they can make as much money they want. That's not the problem. If they do good films, if they're doing
business. It does come back to the country though. What they make, third of that comes to the country.
You know, whatever they do.
That's what we owe as debt to society.
No, so
right?
see,
so it's not like just because you don't mention these things that you don't care.
No, but then there are a lot of examples. Like, would you like Trump might be the richest person, you know, in this thing. But again, like, there are conflicts. It's not just about money. You can't just feed society money and be like, oh, okay, fine, now this is my responsibility for society. Even if you have no money. Even if today, if say somebody whose mother has got cancer, who can take her to America and you can do all kind of treatments, and here's a poor person who can only offer water. So I'm not saying that you have to have all the entire knowledge of the country and politics, but you show your concern. You show, you're even offering that water, you think that's not good enough?
So basically what you're saying is, if you're a celebrity, a public figure that people are following, then you owe it to the public that you show concern because they're celebrating you.
No,
is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You justify your position.
Sure.
Why are you a celebrated being?
Because you make great films. How about that? That you make really good superhero movie that everyone loves.
Like? Which great film?
I don't mean any particular person.
No, but tell
you
me
know
the
what I'm
kind
talking
of
about.
trash the industry is generally generating, which is making the biggest money. They should definitely owe to these public. How will they give back? Because they are fooling them also, looting their money also, and not showing any high moral standards also. So everything is 0, 0, 0, 0.
Sorry.
Which films? Which great films you've seen? Huh?
Like, why do you make it seem like everything is shit? Yeah, there are some really good films. One, you don't watch too many films.
No, I do. But see, there are okay film here and there. That's fine, but It's not that you can only say through films. Yes, you can, but at the same time, you should know, especially when the country is in a sensitive situation like that, on the threshold of a great possibility, you should definitely have a say in things and be like, this is how it should be, whether it is pro-government, anti-government, whatever it is.
Sure, that's a viewpoint, right? And he's allowed his viewpoint too.
Which is,
you may not agree with it, but that's what he feels.
That
and you should
I'm
be
a
okay with that
privileged,
too.
I'm a
Yeah,
privileged
but he feels
person.
privileged
No,
and it doesn't.
It's not okay. It's not.
You're not okay with it. That's fine too, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's definitely not okay, and it is embarrassing for any youth to talk like that. And imagine, look at the selfishness quotient in this that, why should I care? I have electricity. Is this how? If we start to feel, then again there are so many things that are happening in the country. Then why does a soldier goes to the border? Why should they care? He's also a son. He is also flesh and blood. How can such a way of life be propagated, that too so shamelessly? So that is not okay. It shouldn't be okay with anyone.
You were talking about talent in the creative industry. I think the talent that we have in politics is even worse. Right? Let's all be fair. We don't have the world's best politicians. In fact, the world doesn't have great politicians to begin with. And when they see someone like you, who is brutal with the points you want to make, very clear-headed, and some of these points are actually what would come in the domain of partisan politics, right? Because there are two viewpoints and you take one side. Have you been approached by a political party to join them?
No.
No, seriously?
No.
Like not even a feeler?
No.
Would you be interested?
No, of course not.
Why not? We must do something for the country, no?
I am doing something for the country. And also the idea that politicians are supposed to be authors and thinkers and mystics and actors, it's not true. Politicians are just doers. We are the ones, and we are the ones who are the drive. That's why celebrity should have a point. We should only to be criticizing a current government is only on the basis of just because there is no acceptance. See, it's a democratic process. Whoever the leader has been chosen is because we have chosen them, and not to acknowledge that. Like, for example, this is the problem, because why today people don't like Narendra Modi is because he's from a poor family. He's a chaiwala, so there is absolutely no respect for him. But
why assume that? That's not true. I mean, Manmohan Singh was from a
for
very
me,
poor family.
I just that's what I feel. Like, let me give you my opinion, because that's the kind of prejudice I faced. Like, we just do not acknowledge this. Well, he is the leader of the country for this chosen government, and however, whatever the term is, you choose, you say what you want to be done. And if you don't say it, and if you say, oh, because I have had enough this year, I got married and I have 2 hit films and I have this and I have that, I have no viewpoint, then don't cry about it. You've got to say what you want, and if that doesn't happen, then there is something that we should talk about it. But you don't say, you have no idea, you have no clue, just because 5 people were talking, you were like, must be true, then I also think that. No, you've got to understand. You've got to understand where we live, what is the scenario, what are the situations that we're dealing with, and have responsibility. And what is this thing of calling them young? Ranbir Kapoor was 37. He is the young kid of the generation. Like, my father was a middle-aged man in that time. And Alia was just turned, she's running 27. 27, I was writing dialogues for Queen.
They're not in this room. It's unfair to talk about that.
No, but what is this young thing? उनको नहीं पता, वो बच्चे हैं. Oh, कौन से बच्चे? My mother had 3 children at 27. This is absolutely unfair. बच्चे हैं कि dumb हैं कि क्या हैं? See, this is you can't get away with this. At this age, at this stage, you should know. And I'm not saying that there's some 12, 13-year-old and you're putting mic in before their mouths and be like, talk, you have to talk. No. If they can pay, they can be the highest taxpayers in the country. Why can't they care about this country? There are so many situations. There are farmers who are dying. There are borders with their military that is in problem. There are things that are happening. How can we sit in our houses and be like, no, just twiddle with our thumbs? What is this? This is wrong.
This is not wrong. It's perfectly fine for someone not to publicly comment on an issue if they don't want to. It's their privilege. It's something that you want to. That's fine too.
No, see again. I agree. If we are asking about your sex life, that you're okay to discuss, which you should have your personal agenda. No, that you're okay to discuss. Put pictures on Instagram. Who I'm not. That is fine. But about the country, it's my personal choice. you don't even understand and identify and differentiate between which is personal, which is not personal. I think it is the most. Everybody asks me, हाँ, so आजकल किसके साथ चल रहा है? अरे तुमको क्यों बताऊं? You ask me the questions which are not personal. Here उल्टा होता है यहाँ पे. Whichever is personal, they're okay to flash that. Okay, and which is not personal. Everything about the country, how can you say it's my personal wish? It's not your personal wish. It is a collective wish.
It's your wish not to be on social media, right?
No.
I mean, how about we tell you
that is a
but
personal,
you must be on social
but that
media
is a personal
and you must talk about country
so आप
and
मेरे को
soldiers.
बताइए, आप मेरे को बताइए, इजराइल में जब सबको आर्मी में भेजते हैं, is it a personal wish?
No, that's different.
So that is the situation of the country.
Maybe we don't agree with that. As a country, maybe we don't agree with conscription.
But yeah. कल को अगर दिक्कत आएगी, कल को सिचुएशन होगी, अग्री और नॉट अग्री जाना ही पड़ेगा. अग्री हो चाहे नहीं अग्री हो, जाना ही पड़ेगा. So everything about the country is in a collective domain. ये collective consciousness है, it has to collectively rise. You cannot personalize it. Every question, चाहे वो farmer पे हो, चाहे वो bomb blast पे हो, चाहे वो women rights पे हो, या चाहे वो human rights पे हो, is a question about the country. Who you are having sex with is not the question about the country. Social media is not the question about the country. You want to be on social media, it's not the question about collective well-being of the country. That you decide you want to choose or not give. And all of this है कि अभी बच्चे हैं ये वो प्लीज वो नहीं होने वाला अभी कोई 37 कोई 38 कोई कुछ that's very wrong.
Kangana,
you give them too much consideration.
No, how? So you expected me to ask Ranbir Kapoor to leave the room? That's what you said. You said why did you ask me to leave? Are you kidding me? Like he has a
that is why you called me.
No, that's not true.
Why you
that's
called
not
me
true.
To give it back to me.
No, that's not true. I'm saying it's the way you think about something. No, not true. You know it's not true. I mean, it's perfectly fair.
And I thought you want to talk to me.
That we did, right? We did, no?
But I personally feel that like I said, like too much, like Gen Next. कौन सी Gen Next? कुछ तो हद करो यार, 40 के होने वाला 2-3 साल में Gen Next.
But what did you say? Are you joining politics or not?
मेरे को क्या करना है पॉलिटिक्स में यार? I have to. There are so many things that I want to say as a creative person. Let's see first how that goes. But in terms of politics, I really do not know how to. What do politicians do? I really do not know anything about this job, so I don't know how I will. How I can make a difference. But like I said, I'm all game for everything. But to me, like I want to make a difference through movies and through a person who is like I said, politicians are not supposed to be mystics and thinkers or authors or journalists. They're not supposed to. They're just doers. But they will get a collective sense from the country. This is what his country or these leading minds of the country are wanting from us right now. That's where we need to guide them. That's what I feel. As a person, that's what I feel, and that's why I'm very intrigued by all the great minds around, and I feel we collectively need to carve a path for them, for politicians to follow, and then what politician will want, army will follow, and what army will want, that's how it will go on. But we can't say that we are insignificant in the scheme of things. So that's what I'm thinking, and definitely not very young.
And you said this before, you are the only, among female actors, the only rags to riches story. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think India is a very big, a hodgepodge sort of a land, isn't it? Like, growing up back home in the mountains, I never thought we were any different or we were poor or anything like that, because there's a lot of equality there. Mountains are very different. You will never find a merc, or you will never see something very expensive, but you will not see a beggar either. You will never see anybody poor. So we grew up in an environment which was very neutral. It was only when I came to Mumbai, or a big city like a Delhi or Mumbai, the harsh reality of the world, like there were slums and there were really big 5-star hotels. I would go like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe when I entered. I still remember first time I entered a lobby of a 5-star hotel. I just couldn't believe the kind of the sort of luxury and the scale of things, grandeur. And the same way the beggars, toddlers are just sort of playing around.
Right.
So for me it was very unsettling. But then according to that economy, I felt that my parents or they couldn't even sort of afford me to pay rent maybe in a place like Delhi or Mumbai. They could definitely could not support me. Of course, they had their own set of ideas, and they were scared for me because they've heard horrible stories about girls turning into porn stars or things like that, or people sort of misusing them. But along with that, there was the true thing. The matter of fact is that they could have not afforded to pay even 20,000 rent a month for me, or even give me, like, in those days, I don't know now how much it is for a struggler to support herself in a city like Delhi or Mumbai, but 10 years ago I could have even, maybe, sort of made the ends meet in 10, 12, 20,000 rupees or something. In a
But there's a
business like
perception
Mumbai.
that homes have, which are not from metropolitan cities, often is, oh, this is show business and it's like this dirty world, and
Yeah.
or as you said, like you turn to porn stars.
Yeah.
And that was what your parents thought of the profession per se.
Yes, and that's something very commonly that happens, and also I had a very I almost fell into a trap like that. I've had similar, everything I was warned against, it happened to me.
Really?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Everything that I think, the fact that people met me and they promised to guide me, to help me, and then I was put on house arrest, and then I Pehlas Nehlani had offered me a film called I Love You Boss or something, and they had a photo shoot. So they gave me a robe to wear, and they didn't give me any undergarments, and they said you can't wear undergarments, and I'm like, okay. So there was this robe, and I had to stick my leg out, and then I'm like, and it was a satin robe, and I'm like, they should give some tapes or something, because every time I'll go like that, and and I couldn't pose. So it was basically that showgirl pose, that girl is coming out of the darkness, like fully naked, and the theme of the film was something about that I am like a young kid who's lusting over her like a really middle-aged boss or something, like a really that soft soft porn sort of a character. And I had this epiphany, and I'm like, I can't do this after that shoot. And I felt like I can't do this. This is exactly what my parents were talking about, even though it didn't feel that bad, because they were, talking about respectable names who will be playing
The middle-aged man.
Right. But I just felt very alarmed in that particular photo shoot. So yeah, I could have ended like that. I think it could have ended something very unfortunate for me, and I'm sure it happens to a lot of people. Let's not just glorify the struggle, because a lot of stories die down without even a hint of any hope. But I did struggle. I have had like really horrible time with everything possible, but there's been always that silver lining somewhere for me. But I don't know how many people do find that.
So what happened after the photo shoot? Did you run away? Did you actually go through it?
I went through the photo, then I disappeared. I changed my phone number and I disappeared.
On them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so and around that time I was giving more auditions, and I had given audition for Gangster and Pokeri, which is Puri Jagannath's film, and luckily I got both the films. So I had to actually take that call if I want to do Puri's film or Basu's film. So in that hope I could leave that film, because there was, like how something doesn't happen for the longest time and then how you get 2-3 things together. That was the phase for me. So I chose Gangster, but Pokeri also went on to become a very big
Huge
hit.
hit. What became Wanted later, right?
Yes,
With Salman Khan.
yes. And then I worked with Puri sir again. He met me after Gangster, and he was very happy to see my work. I'd say that I've been very fortunate to be able to, have this sort of, to start with Gangster. It's sort of, it gave me the kind of image I needed. I could have not done what you call in filmy term, I exposed that there were backless scenes. Even in fashion there was, like that was not my concern. Like I'm not somebody who will say ki, "Arey ye tang nahi aur ye dikhana," like I'm not that person. But at the same time, there is a very strong image around actors, and then it's very difficult to defy that, to break that, and especially when you are just going with what is offered to you. You do not have a set of people who understand that about you, or who would want to help you. So I've been very fortunate that it just set me up, Gangster or fashion, in a good actor zone, even though I was a bit eccentric, and everyone thought that I can only do edgy characters and only do homeless or druggy character or like eccentric character.
To have, no?
Yeah, but it was better than being
being like one of many.
Yeah,
you stood out.
Yes,
in that sense.
Yes.
So you do have like these moments where your life's taken a turn for the better, right?
Yes.
So how long did it take for you to get to the first point, which would be Gangster, of course? 2-3 years? When did you move to Bombay?
I moved to Bombay in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So that's the same year as Gangster, so not too long.
But I came to Mumbai and I was doing some catalog shoot. I was with Elite Modeling Agency. So it's not a place where you can come and be like, guess what, I'm gonna now get an apartment and stay here. So I was coming back and forth and just doing some auditions and things like that. There is this girl hostel, Asha Chandra girl hostel in, so there were these rooms where...
In Juhu?
In Juhu, yeah.
Right.
Sangeeta apartments. So they were renting actually mattresses and a closet. There was no room to rent. There were 5-6 mattresses and 5-6 closets, and for 5,000 or something, that was the rent in those days. So I got a room like that, and I think sometime 2004 end or beginning, when I got this assurance that I have some job, that's when I stayed back.
Which is when you were modeling?
I was modeling in Delhi, but that same agency sent me to Mumbai to do some catalog shoot, and then I kept going back and forth, and I came back only when I got like a I Love You Boss, or that film was called I Love You Boss.
Did it get made? Do you know?
No, he still meets me and he's like, you left that film and I didn't make it with anyone else.
But nothing unsavory, right? Nothing happened on that set or during the photo shoot in terms of a Me Too movement, as it were?
No, sure. Not at all. I'll have to say that. No, if I have gotten into troubles like that only because of myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I think I've been in places where I've pushed the limit, like I've been in situations where I was going through a very dark phase and very destructive phase as well. So I would, I don't know how that works, but being a teenager, I've always made sure that I am in situations that lead to drastic circumstances, like I would, really strange situations. I wouldn't want to sort of open up it like that, sure. But yes, I've exposed myself to all sort of dangers, and yes, I've paid heavy price for that. But that was something more destructive in me than actually someone who's sort of, taking advantage of a damsel in distress. I've never been that person. Fortunately, unfortunately, I've never, I was 15 and my father was trying to say something and I'm like, what are you going on about, So I've never been that person. At the age of 15, I could tell that I don't need to take shit from you. So that way I've been quite straightforward. I understand some people cannot be like that, but some people are like that and they cannot be any other way. But did I go through harassment, or did I go through unpleasant circumstances with opposite sex, or situations where were absolutely unpleasant? Yes, plenty of them. Because I've put myself on purpose in those situations. Because I personally felt that I had no way back. And if something doesn't happen, if something good doesn't happen, something absolutely bad should happen, and I should experience something, something experiential should happen, either good or bad.
It's a very teenage thing to do.
Isn't it? I think especially when I was young, I was humiliated by my family, and I didn't feel, I felt a sense of longing that I need to do something, and that lack of faith and trust from my family, it all just brought about in adolescence, it all just brought about a sense of destruction in me. That seemed very relieving. It seemed absolutely gratifying every time I put myself in destructive situations.
But you're doing it automatically, not because you want to be a rebel.
It was more subconscious, and even when I stumbled across a film like A Gangster or something like that, I did not, by the time my hope for a good future was so bleak, was so, I didn't, at that point, maybe I hoped it way before that, but by that time I was so exhausted that it didn't even seem like something good would ever happen to me.
Really?
You can tell that.
You reached that point?
Yes.
You couldn't care less?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Can't you tell from my performance?
No.
I was.
I thought you were playing that character, honestly.
So I was 17. I don't
Sure.
think I played a character in those days,
Okay.
because I was 17. I was not a. I mean, of course, I done little bit theatre, so I could take instructions. If you tell me now you cry, so I would, or now you don't. So I would take those many instructions, but at the same time I was not a seasoned actor who would have a graph like that. But I was actually in that situation in my life that I didn't care
You
anymore.
were playing yourself?
I think yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
news to me. The fact that you watched Devdas
Yeah.
and really blew your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that you would just keep talking about it when you were in hostel
Yeah.
in Chandigarh, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah,
right? And the second was Black.
Yes.
So both are Sanjay Leela Bhansali.
Yes.
Have you met him since?
Oh yes, in fact we had a brief meeting for Padmavat. He narrated me the film, and
Oh yeah, he offered you
yes,
the film?
Yes.
No way.
There was this conversation,
Amaze.
and I was doing Manikarnika also around that time. So that conversation didn't go anywhere, but yes, we have had a brief narration. Before that also I've met him, but not for a film. He wanted me to do that Ram Leela song in his film. So I've had that opportunity to know him in person, and he's that kind of filmmaker who can leave very strong impressions on you, and especially if you are that fresh mind, isn't it? I was 13, 14 from my hostel. They took us in Chandigarh, took us to watch this film. Devdas, as a story or as literature, of course, like coming from mountains, I was not even exposed to it. Along with the direction, what I really found is that for the first time that artist in me and that thinker and that somebody who really loves to contemplate had been like severely seduced, So the very ethos of two very tragic loves because of hubris, that because of the two extremely headstrong people, and because their egos always meant much more than, and at that age I was able to identify with that, and I would cry and would think about it and think about life in general, that oh my god, why don't we think about life like that? And of course those amazing grand visuals and the way he depicted it was very poetic. It was not anything I had seen before, so I was definitely deeply moved by it. And then I remember going for Black, and at that time it was one of the things that people were suggesting a lot around me. Even in theatre, people would say, why don't you do films? And I'm like, oh my god, films must be so different, because everything that you hear about films is that this actor is bad, that actor is bad, they're bad actors, industry is full of bad actors, that's all you hear. So I thought it must be very difficult to act. So I went to see this film Black with my roommate called Kamlesh. She is from Chicago, and she's an elderly lady who's like my mother age, and she wanted to
She's also a struggling actor.
yeah, she wanted to do like mama's role and things like that.
She moved at what age to Bombay?
52, 53.
To live in the same hostel as you were.
Yes,
When
and she has
now?
like a mansion in Chicago, and she has limousines, and she wanted to be an actor. She still meets me. She still says that if a role for me comes along, please. I'm like, so that's the charm of being in films. And I remember, so we went to see this film, and Auntie used to really, she used to sometimes take me for these lavish dinners and things like that, and I was this person who definitely appreciated that in those days.
Very much.
Yeah, very much. So she took me for this film Black, and she's like, if we could act like that now, we could also become like that. I said, I can do this. What is the big deal about this? And she's like, my god, look at you. You think you can do what Rani is doing? I said, of course I can do this. So, and then I also verified. I said, so in theatre, we do this in one go. In this case, you have to do it in segments. And if just in case you mess it up, you can do again.
Right.
So she's like, yes, but it is still not that easy. So I'm eating, she took me to Marriott, and we had some Chinese food, and I'm like, really, it's not that easy. What could be so difficult about it? And what could be maybe something I'm not getting? Because I'd definitely done one or two plays. So I went to my hostel toilet, and there was this small mirror, and I tried to do this thing. I said, I can definitely do this. Nobody can say I cannot. So that day I found this confidence that no matter what people say about acting, that I can act, and that's the thing about me. If I do my own experiments, and if I pass those, I'm confident no matter what the world says. I mean, everyone's like, in Gangster, they're like, how do you know how to act?
You were studying science.
Yeah.
Why were you studying science?
because my parents wanted me to study science. Yeah, it was very difficult, especially coming from Hindi medium and then to go into physics, chemistry and organic chemistry and all of that with a different, like a different language, and I couldn't understand. I told my parents I'm not getting it, and they were definitely not amused by it, and they're like, no, this is it now, we have spent way too much money on you, so now you carry on with it. Then I started to bunk and all of that.
What did they want you to be? Like, what did they want you to study and pursue? A doctor, okay.
Yes.
But you're not doing MBBS though. You're doing science. Like
but then what happens in school? You do science.
Oh, you mean?
And then you do PMC.
High school,
yeah,
right.
High school. But I've never been to college.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that was college for you.
No.
Okay.
I was a minor when I started gangster.
Acha.
Yeah, I was so young.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So well, in that sense, you're everything you're self-taught. You've not done formal education.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
And then there came a point where I started to feel painfully incompetent for everything. That like I remember when journalists will sit across to me, and I'm like, what do I say? Because there's nothing to say from my end. I don't know. I don't have any education. I didn't have any experience or ambition either. Like, if you can talk about your ambition that I want to be Madhuri Dixit, or I saw this song. I know nothing about songs. I know nothing about actors. I have no education. I remember during Tanu Manu, I used to meet Swara Bhaskar and all, and they're from JNU. They can give you a lecture on communism, or they can go on and on. They can like unleash this history or whatever they have about socio-political background and all of that. I knew nothing. The good thing is then I picked subjects which really excite me. I picked few subjects and I formally, casually, not formally, I pursued those. I started to learn on my own, and then communication became a big problem. I had things that I could understand, and I knew that growing up I can't be this person who doesn't have nothing to talk about. I need to be someone who can engage. It doesn't have to be necessarily one thing, but then different kind of education I this myself, and then I even learned English and all of that. Yeah.
I mean, you should be glad that Queen happened, right? Because before that, you were almost like quitting films as an actor, which is why you left to the US to study direction.
Yes.
You made a short film too.
Yeah. It was definitely an end of my career. It was over.
Yeah.
Everything was over.
It was
here.
over, huh?
Yeah. And I was doing films which would further harm me. Like 10 minutes role or something like that, or a film of an unknown person, a politician's son, and all of that. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I remember your call as well.
So all of that just to get money I can, and sponsor my education in the US. And
But you were getting paid well though.
yes, that's
You're
the thing
making
about
good money.
films. That's the things about film, especially if politicians' son come along, then so you can do what you like. So very grateful to this profession for that. I mean, there have been few times where I felt that I should be more grateful, like my sister's treatment when I could afford that because of this profession. Today, if you see so many acid attack survivors, Rangoli had 90% burns, but if she could have, she's gone through some 54 surgeries. Today, if she looks normal, is only because of we could afford it, and that's because of my profession. My education, whether it is screenwriting or I could make that short film in California, it's because of this profession.
But that's usually everyone's, I mean not everyone's, but a lot of people's plan B. When it doesn't work out, at some point when you won't be as saleable as an actor, then you become a director, a filmmaker, producer. But you're pretty much at the top of your game right now, no?
No, I don't think like that.
No?
I definitely, I feel that if we don't have good directors in this country, it's only because of this attitude that they're not valued. They definitely are unsung heroes. Today, if we talk about directors, who are the directors that
You tell me, who do you like?
That's
Outside of Sanjay Leela Bansali.
See,
Clearly not Karan Johar.
See, that's what I'm saying, that no, but you tell me that is there a director that after doing the kind of work I have done, if I have to be in that same circle, keep running around the same circle, then of course I can go on and on and on. But if I have to up my game, who is it that I can work with? Hardly anyone. Like let's be honest about it. There's hardly anyone who is going to up my game. not going to take me in circles and circles. We do not have directors. If we need anything, we have a lot of talent. We don't have good directors. So for me, it is right now I feel this is one issue that we can address, that we should value technicians more, we should value directors and writers more, so that more and more youth starts to find these jobs aspirational rather than making them these unsung heroes and underpaid people. And especially the kind of work is coming out of the industry now with young director and young talent and all of that. We should encourage people, and we should make them mainstream heroes, like how West treats them. For me, like Christopher Nolan is a very big star,
right?
Like I would want to be like him. So I don't look down upon this job, and I don't think my popularity will go down in any way. No, and also I don't even enjoy the things that people being actors, like I said, unnecessary attention, or wanting to dance in weddings, or wanting to do fairness creams. I anyway do not do any of that. What I like about my profession is that to be able to communicate and to be able to, through an idea or through a thought, to be able to live in millions of them. Like if a certain story is in me, and when it is watched by millions of people, it becomes a part of them. It is like living through them. It is very spiritual in its nature. So that is what excites me. And being a director, that it gives you exactly that. So that's why I want to be a director. And I don't think that calculatively that my popularity will come down or anything. And you never know, maybe my popularity will rise, maybe it won't, but I always listen to my heart. I go where my heart takes me.
It's very odd in your case, because the sense one gets, and especially like following your public life, as it were, is you almost thrive on it. Like you actually love picking on people, pick on someone, say, why is this guy doing this? Then talk to that guy, like, why is... No,
I do only that when I am rubbed the wrong way.
When you are rubbed the wrong way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I obviously don't have time to go around and to pick on people, who's doing what. That is very time consuming. And also, if you see me, I'm not a judgmental person. I am very easygoing as a person, and that is precisely why I'm in my own world and I'm able to do what I'm able to do, because it needs certain amount of dispassion for society and what is happening in the social structure. I'm not a gossipy person. I don't care. I can actually make a lot of, like you said, worldly things happen if I entertain these people, and who are dying to be, their egos be pampered by me. But I really do not care what goes on and how this whole business of cinema works, by clinging on to whom and pampering whom and all of that. So I'm completely away from all of that. But when somebody on purpose bullies me or tries to be nasty, then of course, then I have my own way of putting them in their own place, and I do that very well.
Because before coming for this interview, I typed your name and I typed interview on Google, and I think the second thing that showed up, 34 controversial moments from Kangana's life. And that's the second thing that shows up as an interview. Clearly, you rattle people up a certain way, and it's always because someone else rubbed you the wrong way.
Yes. Always. You cannot come up with, out of those 34 controversies, if you come up with one that haven't been about people. Yes, maybe you haven't seen it openly in public, because sometimes people have the way of going little behind and hitting you. Yes, but I always retaliated openly. For example, that silly ex, I said it first, but the way he was harassing me for 2 years. Understand? So people are like, oh, where did that come from? But I know where it comes from. I want everyone to know what is happening with me. So it has always been out of retaliation to something which people have been either secretly harassing me or bullying me or openly bullying me.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.